Hello, this is the Timeless Tarot, and today's reading is going to be a love reading for the sign of Capricorn. Well, this is going to last for the next 4 to 6 weeks and will take you right through the holiday season, which is quite exciting. Okay, so let's have a look at the bottom of the deck, and we have, ooh, very, very exciting. At the bottom of the deck, we have the Knight of Cups. But at the top of the deck, this card wants to break off, and it is the Tower. Okay, right, so that's a strong combination. It's a good start, I think. Right, let's have a look and see what we're dealing with here. Right, it feels like, I think this is going to go one of two ways. If you're a masculine, I think it feels like you want to offer your cup of love to somebody, or you should have done it by now and you haven't done it. And it feels a little bit like the fact that you haven't done it, that was a mistake, and that you've potentially blown up a good connection by not offering your cup of love yet. That's what that feels like from a masculine perspective. From a feminine perspective, it feels like somebody wants to offer you their cup of love. Potentially you might have been waiting for somebody, and the fact that they haven't offered their cup of love has blown up the connection, sort of blown it to smithereens. It no longer exists. I'm saying that with a slight reluctance, really, because it feels like a very much an ongoing connection. Now, that might be just in terms of the 5D, thinking about somebody a lot. It might be that you haven't really had any actual communication for a while. It feels like somebody should have got in touch, and because they haven't, they've exploded a connection that had great promise. So it'll be slightly different if you're a masculine or if you're a feminine watching this. Take it as it fits. At the centre of the reading, I'll just say this, you've got a lot of very nice cards here. At the centre of the reading, we have the World. This is the end of one phase, completion if you like. Having completed a challenge or completed a stage of life, I want to say. Well, so it could mark the beginning of adulthood in a way, or the way of operating like an adult, maturity. I don't know, something like that. You've completed a life stage is what it feels like to me, and that you're stepping into a new era. That's good then. If you're stepping into a new era, then potentially you could now offer a cup of love. Maybe in the past you weren't quite sure about it, or you didn't feel quite ready to do it. But you're in a new era, so this feels like it's more possible now. I think in the past, it felt like it was not a possibility. So either your person couldn't offer you what you wanted, or you didn't want to do the offering because it was going to blow something up. But you have now entered a new phase. Yeah, this is very encouraging. Now, what's crossing the new phase, it could actually indicate, the World sometimes actually could indicate travel or moving country or place. It could indicate moving, because the Knight of Cups is a card of movement as well. One phase has very definitely ended, and to me it feels very much like a life stage. What is crossing that is the Queen of Pentacles. This is the card of knowing your own worth, particularly if you are a feminine. So if you are a feminine watching, maybe not knowing your own worth has prevented you from completing a life stage that you should have completed by now, potentially. If you're a masculine watching, it's the reverse. You've completed a life stage because a feminine has put some boundary in place. Yeah, I think so. There's a feminine who knows her own worth, and she's put boundaries in place, and you have now done some maturing, I think. Or maybe it's not maturing, it could just be maybe you're seeing things in a new perspective and you're changing the place that you live in order to come towards this woman who set some boundaries. Yeah, that feels like a thing. Because it very much feels like you want to approach a woman who knows her own worth. Because on the face of it, we have the Empress. Now, this woman is only one stage away from the Queen of Pentacles. The Queen of Pentacles is the card of knowing your own worth. The Empress is the card of knowing your own worth and being very happily settled in it. So she is a step up from here. So if a feminine has set boundaries for you and said, I'm not doing it like this, she is very much in her Empress energy now, in the mode of, you know, if you think you're good enough, you can try and approach me feeling. Now, if you are a feminine and you're not fully in your own worth yet, you are getting to it. These two cards are similar. I would try and hurry that along if I were you. Knowing your own worth is key here. If it means that there is a masculine in your life and you have not set a boundary with them yet, but you feel like you want to, I would get on and do that. The Empress is the best feminine energy you can have. She is very comfortable in her own skin, comfortable in her environment. She's in an allowing mode, okay? So she's done all the work on herself. She knows what she wants. She knows how she feels. She's sitting in her best energy. She is now in a state of allowing. So if you are a masculine Capricorn watching this, I would say fairly confidently that you can now approach this feminine. If you know what she wants and you think you can deliver, I think she will be willing to accept an offer. I do. Because this Tower situation has passed, I think. I think this has passed. I think she set a boundary and you retreated and you didn't know what to do about it, if you're the masculine. Or if you're the feminine, you had to set a boundary because things weren't going the way you wanted and you told the masculine to go away and not come back until he'd worked things out. And I think in the past, well, I feel quite strongly that the masculine didn't know there was a way to progress this forward. He thought the only way of progressing forward was going to create an almighty problem for himself. But the feminine is still sitting in her best energy and she is now in allowing mode. So I think that if you have found a way to work out how to deal with the possible fallout of this connection that you didn't want to deal with in the past, if you're a masculine, I think she's ready to receive it. She's in, receptive mode, I suppose. And if you're the feminine, just stay where you are. Don't accept anything less than what you want or deserve, because the energy of accepting and allowing... The thing is this, and I was thinking this morning, and I'm not a Capricorn, I'm an Aries, but I was thinking this morning, that particularly if you're a woman and you're a mother, I think a lot of us can get lost in doing stuff for other people, and you can run around being the person that provides everything for others. And, you know, something has happened. Something's happened, you've completed some sort of life stage that is now putting you in a completely different energy where you are now happy to let other people try and provide for you or try and assist you or try and approach you. I really think so. I felt that so strongly this morning. I wasn't sure it was going to come out in a reading. Now it has. I think that is very much a key theme here. Just allow the good things to come forward. Don't force the issue. Don't try and do it all yourself. Just allow. Sit back, feel comfortable in the place you are and allow the good things to come in. That is the state that the feminine is in. And the masculine is in the state of coming forward, I think. That's great. Great, great, great. What's underpinning the situation, so what is not clear or is hidden, is that this is now a time of action. It's not action for the feminine, because the only action that you're completing is feeling good in yourself. But you do actually have to allow other people in. So I suppose in a way that is a form of action. What's going with it is the wounded warrior. Yeah, I think some of you have not been feeling well, and that has brought about this new stage where you've had to accept that actually you do need help. I think a family situation might have been an ongoing issue where maybe, well, I think like I was saying before, you're stepping back from doing everything for everyone because you're either exhausted by it or it's actually made you ill. I think so. You're worn down by it. This stage can't go on. So the 9 is the card before the 10, and the 10 is always a completion. We don't have the 10 of Wands here, but we do have the World, which is a completion. So you've reached the end of the feeling like you have to deliver all things to everyone. You don't. You don't have to do that anymore. And actually, if I think about it, the 9 plus the 1 makes the 10. You've definitely reached the end with that mode of operating. Yeah. And particularly if you've been administering a lot of time and energy into other people or a family situation. The thing is this, it could be that you've got a lovely family situation going on, but you've run yourself ragged. Not anymore. No, not now. This next season, and I did say for the holiday season, so in particular, I know that the holiday season can be extremely hard work if you're a feminine with a family, but you have to allow the good things to come in, because this energy of having reached the end of doing everything is very strong, I think. I just wanted to look at the bottom of the deck here, and this is the moon. Now, there's something about this card that I was just looking at, and it says to me, you need to obey the moon. There's something about obeying the moon, and these dogs are baying at the moon. There's something about obeying and the moon. Now, I know there is a large supermoon coming up in Taurus, which is a sister sign. Now, that could have some impact. Obeying at the moon and obeying the moon. I suppose maybe it means that you need to really make the most of the energy for the next 4 to 6 weeks, because the moon is a 4-week cycle. And so for the 4 weeks after that, this energy is going to be strong, where you need to obey this, the business of allowing the good things to come in. Yeah, I think so. In the past, you had a strong soulmate connection. And this is what I was saying at the start. There was somebody with great potential and it didn't work out, which is sad. Let's take a clarifier for that. It can also have a link with childhood. And here it could have some sort of, maybe an age gap as well. Oh yeah, it was real. Yeah, it wasn't pretend, it was what you wanted. You wanted a very strong soul connection, and that was what you wished for, and that is what you got. Sadly, it did not come into being in the way that you wanted. What a shame. Because this is the card of getting your dreams to come true. Wishes coming true. Yeah, now that's a very strong pairing. And to my mind, the fact that we've got the Knight of Cups at the very start seems to me that perhaps this connection is going to come back around. Right, well, in the future, we have the King of Pentacles. So what's crossing the stage development was the Queen of Pentacles. This is a loving pair. This is a great pairing. This is very stable, grounded energy. So I think, I think you might have met your other half and it didn't work out. I think that's what it is. I think maybe he might be younger than you, and I don't think he knew how to bring things forward. I think he really worried about trying to bring things into an actual relationship. But it seems to me like he's gone through a period of huge growth. And if you're a masculine watching, please put in the comments, because I'd like to know if you've gone through a period of huge growth, because that's what it feels like. That there's been... I keep saying like you want to, like growing up, and I don't mean it in a derogatory way, like you were acting like a child. It just feels like something has shifted in your mindset, which is allowing you to move a situation forward that you really wanted to, that you didn't feel was possible before. Now, it might have something to do with money, because the King of Pentacles is the king of money. So maybe you had to save a lot of money. Maybe you didn't feel like you had enough to offer in the past. And maybe you've been working hard on your finances, because this is in the future. So if you didn't have enough to offer in the past, you have now, I think. I think so. In the personal position, we have the Magician. So you've been working hard to manifest everything you want for yourself. And now that includes self-worth, a new life stage, confidence, capable, accepting, allowing, being energy. Yeah, you've really, really been doing something important here. And to my mind, because we have the moon clarifying in the underneath position, I'm not even sure you've been doing it. I think there's been a shift in your mindset that you might not even be aware of, Capricorn. But you're manifesting a big change. That's really interesting. I wonder how you've done it. Or how you're doing it. Let's get a clarifier for the Magician here. I mean, it's brilliant that you are manifesting, and even more brilliant if you don't realise you've been doing it. You've undertaken some sort of, yeah, oh my gosh. Goodness me, wow. The Sun is the best card in the deck. So whatever you've been manifesting, you know what you want, you know where you want, you know who you want, you know how you want. All of these things, you know what your life needs to be like now. It's all become very, very clear to you. And I think the clarity of knowing what you want means that you have started to manifest that very thing, or rather everything. I think you're manifesting everything, because the Sun is the card of happiness, joy, contentment, possibilities. I mean, if we read these three cards together, my goodness, the possibilities. And also with the World card, I'm not going to pick it up because I'll just probably drop it again. But the possibilities that you are creating for yourself are huge. There's been quite a big shift in your mindset, I think, Capricorn. I think maybe you didn't know you were doing it. I think perhaps now you do know you've done it, because you're sitting in this wonderful energy. If you're a Capricorn and you're listening to this and you're not in that energy yet, I don't think it's going to be long before you are in that energy. Because if I just go back to these two cards at the start, you're entering a new phase, and the only thing that's stopping you from actually being in this new phase is your own self-worth. So if your phase has not started to shift yet, then I think you need to be a little bit clearer about your self-worth, and the manifesting is going to come in a very, very abundant way. In the home position, we have the Three of Wands. I think you might be looking to move. I've said this in so many readings recently. You know, we've got the World and we've got the Three of Wands. They're both cards of looking for a different place to live or a different way to live. So it could be that you've moved, or you're trying to move, you want to move. There is a move on the cards, I think. It'll be good for you as well, because this is also the card of possibilities. And don't forget, your possibilities are all coming good. They're all good. That's great. In the hopes and fears position, we have the Queen of Wands. If you're a masculine and you have been pursuing or considering pursuing a fire sign, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius, and you're hoping for a fire sign woman, I think there's a very good chance that you're going to be successful in approaching her the right way. If you're not connected with or interested in a fire sign female, then you're hoping for some dynamic energy. Dynamic energy hidden. That's what you're wanting, and that's what you're hoping for. I don't think there's any fear attached to this card. The Queen of Wands is not scared of anything. I mean, literally nothing. So you're hoping for some dynamic energy. And also she is very much sitting in the energy of allowance as well, I think. I might just look at the bottom of the deck there, because that's a very hopeful card. Let's see what's hidden for that, because that could be an indication of what you're fearing. So it could be that you were fearing the serious nature. Yeah, I think so. So it could be, especially if you're a masculine Capricorn and you had dealings with a fire sign female, it could be that she put in place some boundaries, and she was very serious from the start. She knew what this connection was and she wanted it. And I don't think you were sure that you could pull it off properly. You were scared of it, actually, because we had the Tower. You were scared of this connection. You wanted it, but you feared it as well. And I think that was because it was very strong, very serious, traditional even. I think this woman wanted a traditional relationship with you. And I think if you're younger than her, maybe that caused problems. I think so. That's what it feels like to me. In the outcome, we have the Lovers. Wow. So we've had the Soulmate card and we have the Lovers. Interesting. But I took some other cards to go with it. So let's have a look at those as well. Seven of Wands, resisting the very, very strong connection. Okay. Real resistance here. I'll just put those there for now. And what came with those cards also is Death and Justice. Now, when I was shuffling, Justice flew out, and I did try and consider what it was for, and I wasn't really sure at the time, but Justice has come out again. I think this is to do with the knowing. I think if you're a Capricorn man, I think that you know that this is the time to make the change. Death is Scorpio season, which is where we currently are. Yeah, I think you know that the time has come to do something about this connection. I think you just know it now. I think you can sense she's sitting in an energy of allowing. I think you can sense that. And I think that's why we've got the Knight of Cups at the bottom. I think you can sense that now that the energy is still shared. You both still feel the same thing. And even if you're not sure you can feel that, what have you got to lose by making an approach? Absolutely nothing, because you've got nothing currently. So that's if you're a masculine watching this. The time is now to make the approach, definitely. If you are a feminine watching this, I suppose it's the other way round. You know that the feelings were reciprocal, but you could not create the change yourself. And so you put a boundary in place, and then that meant that you were waiting. I think perhaps that the business of waiting, or giving up in a way, if you're a feminine, for the connection to come about properly, I think the business of waiting has actually made your view a bit more balanced on the whole situation. And the whole situation is that potentially if you were a feminine and you thought you wanted a traditional relationship with somebody and it didn't come about in the past, I think perhaps now maybe you're reassessing, because the Lovers is a choice. So you chose resistance, or somebody chose to resist you, and that is changing. You can't get away from that. That is changing, because death is an inevitable change. Somebody resisted the love connection, and that is changing. A choice has been made to stop resisting and make a change into a more balanced situation. I actually think that what's going to happen here is that the masculine has decided that he needs some sort of contact. I think so. And let's get another clarifier here. There's been resistance to the love connection, but an inevitable change is coming because you both still feel it very strongly. I think the masculine knows he has to do something. I've got too many cards here, but the first one that came up is the Five of Wands. That's other people. Bothered about what other people are going to say or do or feel or think. And I don't think he could do it in the past. I think that's changing. I think he's blown up that idea. Because we've got the Tower and we've got Death. Now, you can't have bigger cards of change than that. Oh, here we are. Now, two cards have come out. The Knight of Wands, this is the Knight of Action. And Seven of Pentacles, this is waiting to see. If you put boundaries in place, if you're a feminine and you put boundaries in place, I think the masculine who came into your life with the strong soul connection that you felt, well, you both felt, and that couldn't get off the ground properly, I think he thought he was in it for a good time, not a long time. But I think that a period of time has passed, and I think he's now reassessing the whole situation because the feelings haven't gone away. There's a choice going on that's going to make things different because you're in a better energy of acceptance and he is in a better energy of feeling like he's able to offer something more tangible to you. That's what that feels like to me. Because he's gone from fearing the connection and feeling like he didn't know what to do with it to actually being a stable, secure man with something to offer. Yeah. That feels like a big change going forwards. Is there anything else we need to know? Yeah, it's a massive change. He's sort of throwing in the towel in a way. Yeah, that's the truth. There we are. That's the truth. Yeah, he's thrown in the towel because he can't, there isn't a way not to move things forward. He's been working on himself and he's just actually sort of, I think the strength of the connection was such that it feels like this has nearly killed him. That's what it feels like. So if you're a Capricorn woman and you've been in connection with somebody that you thought had great potential and it didn't come about, especially if other people were in the mix, I think this masculine has really, really struggled over the period of time that you've not been together. And I think he's viewing it now in a different way. The view is now that there's nothing to lose. It feels like he's already lost everything by not being in connection with you. This is what it feels like to me. And the truth of the matter is that the not being in touch has blown up the connection, essentially. So there is no connection anymore. And because there is no connection anymore, yeah, he's really heartbroken, I would say. The Ace of Swords is the card of truth. It's also the card of victory. So if you're a masculine watching this and you feel like you want to give a relationship a second go, I would get in touch. I would do it in the best way possible that you think might reconnect you. I would, yeah. Yeah, here we are. At the bottom of the deck now, it's communication. It's time to communicate. I think if you're a feminine watching, you're a feminine Capricorn, I think expect some communication from somebody from the past who you had a good connection with. Because the lack of connection here has more or less done that person in, and I think they've reassessed their whole life. I think meantime you've been growing and manifesting a much better life for yourself in all areas. And I think that this person is ready to communicate with you. And actually, I think it's quite needed. I think you need to sit down and have a conversation and along the lines of, could we make it work? You know, I missed you so much. I can't stop thinking about you. Can we try and find a way to make this work? And I think that's potentially what's on offer for this holiday season and the next 4 to 6 weeks. Well, I really hope so. And I hope you enjoyed this reading. Please like and subscribe so that I can read your energy more easily, which will help me to do more accurate readings for you and your situation in the future. If you would like a personal reading, my information is in the description box below. But until the next time, this has been the Timeless Tarot. Goodbye.